I'm your host today, Alan Bukusi, and I'm excited to present to you product of a research on Leading Transcendent Change. The actual paper is titled 6 Things Transformative Leaders Do. What we want to do is understand what the concept is about and look at the corporate context and develop skills to articulate why this principle is very important. What is it that is most practical as an Afrocentric business leadership solution? I picked transformative leadership, trying to find out what are the African models, what are African businesses doing, what are the business leaders coming up with. This is the result. So why are we talking about change? Now, change has only taken a rapid exponential shift in the last 200 years. That has been commensurate with education, health, and technology advancement, and as we know right now, global warming. What I'm saying is that change is here to stay. Allow me to share 4 compelling reasons why we need to lead change. The first is survival. How do you survive in a changing environment? If you don't change within a changing environment, you get knocked out. The other thing is sustainability. You are a business that is logging all the forest, but if you continue doing that, you'll finish the forest. So you might as well build into your business planting trees to make it sustainable in the long run. The third is profitability. If you don't make profits, you're going to go out of business very soon. And finally, market leadership. You don't have to be the biggest producer, the largest producer, the most expansive producer, but you do have to be a producer of something that people consume. And in that area, you maintain market leadership. So that's why we need to lead change. If you are in Kenya, this will bring a smile to your face. Vindu Vichenjanga, and it just happens to be my local dialect, it came about in the context of the general elections where people couldn't predict the outcome of election results. Now, this statement in English loosely means things change and keep changing, so you can't get a hold of them. In a sense, this describes our current operating environment as well. Taxes are going up, the exchange rates are not stable, the cost of living has gone up, fuel prices have gone up, unfavorable tax regimes, legislative changes for business environment, Vindu Vichenjanga. That's the local position. But on the global front, it's the same. Volatile, uncertain, complexity, ambiguity. In fact, it's been given a name. It's called the VUCA world. When something happens in Ukraine or the Middle East, the dollar shifts somehow, it comes to affect you. In your business, you don't really have much control over it. Broadly speaking, we're saying that in such changing situations, such dynamic situations, we need vision, we need understanding, we need clarity on how to go about things and a level of agility. If you don't mind my saying, that might sound an oversimplicity, because if you're caught in that situation, you're supposed to improve performance, and suddenly all 10, 15, 20 things are thrown at you, it becomes quite difficult to operate. And that's why we want to talk about transcendent change. Okay, let's give this an academic definition for us to look at the nature of change in our current environment. It is a process, mark the word process, that can alter the factors that highly influence an enterprise. So if you're in business, if you're trying to set yourself up as a career, you might find that things are moving faster than you're able to catch up with. You're talking about products, you're talking about strategy, you're talking about innovation. It has to be dynamic, and the continual improvement of processes and technologies and their diffusion can nurture or stimulate a higher level of change. There are many big words there, but basically it's the same as Vindu Vichenjanga. In other words, things change and keep changing. If you look at it from a time perspective, there is no way the success you achieved last year can be transferred to this year, in the sense that last year had its own paradigm, its economic environment, the competition was at a certain level, the level of technology was at X. But this is this year, and in this year, technology has moved to Y, global warming has set in, and even though your competition has reduced, all the dynamics have shifted. So we're talking about a situation of leading change in a context where strategies involved, innovation, influencing enterprise, and a higher level of what we might call transcendent thinking is needed. What does that mean for us? We're supposed to be leaders, and we're supposed to be coming up with ideas to tell people what to do. If you have the authority and the power, then you take the remote control and change the channel. because you're in control. So you determine what's going to be watched on TV, if you like, and you can manage the change. But supposing you don't have the power and all you have is the authority as the CEO, the manager, the leader of the team, all you can do is influence the situation. How about if you have the power, but you don't have the authority? A new boss comes in, you have a choice. Either you quit or you adapt. It doesn't matter if you like the lady or the gentleman or not. There is an adaptation process that takes place for you to deal with the new change. But finally, there's one where you have little authority over global dynamics. You have little authority or power over the changing tax system. You have little authority over the economic environment. So how best do you get through? In such an environment, we must learn to navigate. Now, navigation has its own challenges, but that's a start point. Okay, let's look at the dimensions of change here. If you are in a linear environment and things are a little bit quiet, you can decide to move from A to B without hindrances, perhaps over a short distance. That can be defined as change. But if you are caught in the quadrant where there is turbulence, that means it's dynamic and disruptive, like COVID-19 or earthquakes or global warming, then you have a significantly different challenge. And so I want to introduce the concept of transcendent change in terms of transcending the situation in which you're in and coming up with an answer or a solution that encompasses what is happening within the area. Transcendent includes a third dimension. Think outside the box. That's what I mean. Think outside the box to get a solution that will deal with the box plus outside issues as well. A solution that will transform you from being a larva into a butterfly, to fly in a new environment than where you were born. Transcendent change involves create something new. We create a new South Africa. As Mandela says, it always seems impossible until it's done. So we want to start trying to do the impossible. If you're in a small market and it's overcrowded, look for a new one. Get a bigger ocean. If you remember, there was a nucleus in the atom, and then there were orbits of electrons that were going around. You were told by your chemistry teacher that to move an electron from the first orbit to the second orbit, you need to energize it and make it have a quantum leap. And so there's a specific amount of energy that is required to get to the next level. This is related to transcendent change. There's an amount of energy you have to put in to get out of the box, to get into a new situation, so that we can say that transcendent change creates an altered, advantageous state of existence. So even if things change in your environment, you need to do something to supersede those changes to survive and thrive in that environment.